Hello, dear people. Greetings, curious minds open to the world of mysteries. There is no need for a comet to pass or to see a UFO in the sky. Open history, and you will see and feel the mystery more strongly than anything else. This story will go very well if you have on the table a village salad with olive oil, olives, cheese, and ouzo, the famous Greek rakia. Let's begin. We dive straight into the deep. The Eleusinian Mysteries, a sacred ritual that has preserved its secret to this day, the most closely guarded secret, that the soul is imperishable and immortal. For among the many excellent and truly divine institutions which your Athens has brought forth and contributed to human life, none, in my opinion, is better than these mysteries. For by their means we have been brought out of our barbarous and savage way of life and educated and refined to a state of civilization. And as the rites are called initiations, so in truth we have learned from them the beginnings of life, and have gained the power not only to live happily, but also to die with better hope. Cicero, Laws 2, XIV 36. The Eleusinian Mysteries were the most important festival and secret religious ritual of ancient Greece, held in Eleusis, Attica, in honor of Demeter and Persephone. Despite the fact that thousands of initiates participated in the ritual over so many centuries, the mysteries remain veiled in secrecy, as no one ever revealed their secrets or what exactly took place during the ritual. Even today, a visitor to Eleusis feels awe and reverence for the extraordinary atmosphere radiated by this remarkable site, the myth of Demeter and Persephone. Mother and daughter, lies at the center of the mysteries. The abduction of the only daughter and her desperate search for 9 days by her mother. The grief of the desperate mother, who sits by the morning rock in Eleusis and weeps inconsolably, moves Zeus, and he decides to return Persephone from the underworld, where she had been taken by Hades Pluto. However, Hades tricks Persephone into eating pomegranate seeds, which causes her to return to the darkness of the underworld each year. The myth speaks of the daughter's return to her mother, and thus of the transition from death to life, from darkness to light, from winter to spring. According to Greek mythology, Demeter herself initiated the mysteries when she offered grain to the people of Eleusis, and thus revealed the rituals. Around the morning rock, where she sat, the women of Eleusis later sang hymns to the goddess. The first systematic archaeological excavations in Eleusis began in 1882 and revealed buildings associated with the worship of the goddess, while the oldest structures connected to the mysteries date back to the 8th century BC. There were 2 Eleusinian mysteries, the Greater and the Lesser. The Greater were celebrated in Athens and Eleusis, while the Lesser were held in Agré on the outskirts of Athens by the Eleusis River. The Lesser Mysteries aim to prepare participants for the greater mysteries. The Eleusinian Mysteries were celebrated on the 15th day of the month Boedromion from mid-August to mid-September and lasted 9 days. At their peak, the greater mysteries gathered more than 3,000 initiates, and anyone could participate, men, women, slaves, and even children. There were 2 conditions. First, each initiate had to understand Greek in order to comprehend what was said during the rituals. Second, initiates could not be guilty of murder. Additionally, during the festival, no one could be arrested on any charge. The ritual began in Athens, at the sanctuary dedicated to Demeter at the foot of the Acropolis of Athens. In a slow procession along the sacred way, Hierodas, led by a priestess of Demeter, all proceeded to Eleusis. There, the initiates gathered at the great propylaea, rested by the well, and then drank a beverage made of barley and mint called kykeon. It is believed that this drink also contained an extract of the psychotropic fungus ergot, which enhanced the experience and aided the initiate's transformation. After drinking the kykeon, participants passed through the long entrance halls of the sanctuary before reaching the large cave considered the entrance to Hades, called the Plautonian, and entered the Telesterion, an underground theater, where the secret ritual took place. This was the most important building in Eleusis, where the central drama of the mysteries was enacted. It was a vast space with 42 tall columns supporting a magnificent coffered ceiling. It could accommodate thousands of initiates seated on steps, 8 rows of which survive, carved directly into the rock. In the center stood a smaller rectangular building called the Anacteron, the Holy of Holies, where the sacred objects of Demeter were kept, accessible only to the hierophants, priests who explained the mysteries and instructed the initiates. From this point onward, the story is shrouded in secrecy. Only initiates from the lesser mysteries were admitted to the greater mysteries, so there were no outsiders. If any did enter, they were immediately executed. The ancient Roman historian Livy writes, "Once, during the celebration of the mysteries, 2 young men entered the temple of Demeter without being initiated. Through their inappropriate questions, they soon revealed themselves. They were brought before the Hierophant and immediately executed by his sentence. The death penalty was imposed even for recounting what happened behind the closed doors of the Telesterion." The famous ancient Greek tragedian Aeschylus narrowly escaped such a fate when he was accused of making allusions to their teachings in his plays. If the vast central hall was a theater, then the Anacteron was the stage watched by the initiates, and the priests were the actors. All that is known are 3 words describing what occurred: dromena, things done; deiknoumena, things shown; and legomena, things said. Because secrecy was mandatory and speaking about the ritual was punishable by death. Its exact content remains unknown. The third and highest stage of initiation was called epoptia, epoptits. Initiates of the second year, mistus, initiates of the first year, reserved for those who had already undergone initiation the previous year. The central symbol of the epoptia was an ear of grain, representing the inexhaustible creative power of Mother Earth. Demeter gave humanity two gifts: the return to life, embodied by Persephone, and the cultivation of wheat, also associated with life. After the mysteries concluded, initiates honored the dead by pouring libations from special vessels, after which they returned home. Plato, himself an initiatus as was Socrates before him, refers to the mysteries in his dialogue Phaedo. Our mysteries had a very real meaning. He who has been purified and initiated shall dwell with the gods. In the myth of Ir, the final part of Plato's Republic, a warrior named Ir dies in battle and journeys to the afterlife, but returns to tell what he saw, explaining that death is not the end of human life, but the beginning of another stage of the journey. Plutarch, writing to his wife on the death of their daughter, says, "Because of these sacred and faithful promises given in the mysteries, we firmly hold the undoubted truth that our soul is imperishable and immortal." He also writes, "When a man dies, he is like those who are initiated into the mysteries. Then comes a light to meet you, pure meadows that receive you, songs and dances and sacred visions." Cicero writes, "Nothing is higher than these mysteries. They not only showed us how to live joyfully, but taught us how to die with better hope." And the historian Will Durant states, "In this ecstasy of revelation, they felt the unity of God and the unity of God and the soul." Historian Waverley Fitzgerald summarizes the experience. Those initiated in Eleusis no longer feared death, confirming the cyclical view of life central to pagan spirituality, that death is part of a cycle always followed by rebirth. The initiates emerged from the mysteries enlightened, having gained new knowledge and freed from the paralyzing fear of death. What they experienced and how their transformation occurred remains a strictly guarded secret, the revelation of which was punishable by death. The mysteries were performed for more than 1,000 years, offering countless people a higher understanding of life and what awaits beyond death. The rituals were abolished by the Christian Emperor Theodosius I in 392 AD, as he saw the ancient rites as inspiring resistance to Christianity and the truth of Christ. As Christianity gained followers and power, pagan rituals were systematically eliminated, although their core meanings, iconography, and symbolism were adopted and transformed to support belief in Jesus Christ as the Messiah.